Well, it is good to be back into it. We've had a good morning this morning, and Brother Rowley is quite right. He rang me up a few weeks ago and said, what do we say to the farmers? What's a Christian attitude? What's a biblical perspective on all of the hype concerning global warming, climate change, etc.? My wife and I recently spent a little bit of time in New South Wales, and we popped into one of the truck stops to pick up some food. And there was an article in here on fishing. Well, I love fishing. I like catching them even better. But this article was all about how the locals had been complaining the fish were really hard to catch at the moment. And so this expert has got his whole page on what's gone wrong. And he said the answer is simple. One word: evolution. That's what he said. That's why you can't catch fish anymore. Well, he goes on to say that over the years we've caught all the dumb ones, and this has left only the smart ones. So fishers have evolved to be smarter. Of course, as I've reminded a few people around the planet, the same evidence can be read the other way to prove that the fishers haven't got smarter, the people have got. But we don't like that explanation, do we? Oh, and then in the next town, we picked up the next local daily out of that town. And it said the reason why we're having trouble catching fishes and the tourists are complaining is global warming. Not enough water's getting into the rivers, so the fertiliser from the farmer is concentrating and the minerals aren't being washed out and the fishes are disappearing. Surprisingly, those two things happen to be quite connected. The first explanation about evolution and the second one about global warming. Well, I have my Bible here tonight, and I told Rowley that we would look at a biblical perspective. This is an interesting book, this. It's got a lot to say about the subject. But I need to start in one particular place, because you and I live on a planet in which most people think the Bible is about religion and scientists deal with facts like temperatures and freezing and warming. Well, here's an interesting verse that the Apostle Paul wrote to the church at Thessalonica, and in chapter 5 and verse 21, he said, "Prove all things, and hold fast to that which is good." Or if you're reading the NIV, test everything. Check it out. Well, there's our subject. We're going to check it out. We're going to do it in three ways. First, we're going to look at what you can gather from the secular sources. Then we're going to look at a biblical perspective. Then we're going to take one very emotional, cultural issue associated with it. Does it really matter if polar bears die out? Well, that's where we started. The Bible is emphatic that Christian faith involves you testing things, proving things, not just accepting things because somebody, whether it be the preacher or the minister for justice or weather or whatever, just happens to say so. So let's go back 1 week and read the Sydney papers. The dry that we're currently suffering has been blamed on faithless Aussies. Last weekend, Sydney Morning or Sydney Sun Herald. A leading Muslim cleric has blamed the drought, climate change and pollution on Australians' lack of faith in Allah. Okay, now that's fine. He's free to say that. This is a democratic country. How would you test it? What would you do to check out that statement? Well, you see, you live on a planet now where we can have photographs of the whole Earth. So let's show you one from NASA. There's a satellite map. The green is where it rains and the yellow is where it doesn't rain. Now let's take a geopolitical, socio-economic, religious map and show you where Islam is distributed. You see, when you are testing something, you check actual real-world situations. You see, the connection between Islam, deserts, and environmental disaster, well, you can reach your own conclusions, can't you? That may not be the best explanation, particularly if you have a look at Islam where it's concentrated. On one side of the green you